U.S. Gold Corp is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ with the symbol USAU. Our flagship asset is the CK Gold project in the state of Wyoming.
With the metal prices where they are, both gold and copper, I took a look at the project and did some due diligence on it. And what I found was it was a simple project, open pit mine. It really has a lot going for it.
Our president and CEO, George B., has a 40-year career in the mining industry. Having someone like him, people know that we are serious of pushing this project forward to production.
The physical attributes of the CK Gold project are that it outcrops on surface. It has a very low stripping ratio, so we get immediately into material which we can process and create value. Also, from the perspective of its geographic location, it is ideally suited.
Wyoming's an amazing state to have an infrastructure development project like the CK Gold project.
We've found Wyoming to be very hospitable toward the resource sector. We feel that we can put CK Gold project into production on a fairly expedited basis.
The state has a 5% royalty, and those monies are earmarked for the state of Wyoming K-12 educational school budget. And we have a lot of infrastructure very close by, including a rail spur and a rail line 2.5 miles north, so we can potentially ship diesel fuel in, ship concentrate out, and have a lot of future cost savings.
The open pit mining allows us to extract the mineral that we're interested in, and the product is a copper and gold concentrate. That concentrate is dried and shipped off to off-site smelters. So one of the main features about the CK Gold project is that we do not employ any hazardous chemicals, we don't have a tailings dam, and we don't have any refinery or smokestack.
The copper that we produce is very much in demand for windmills, for solar panels, for electric vehicles. And we really think that this project can have a green mining aspect to it.
You're always concerned about the post-mining land use. We're creating a hole in the ground which has a potential to be used in the long-term need for water retention and storage for the city of Cheyenne.
Some of the future possibilities we are currently exploring are looking at the non-mineralized material to sell as aggregate.
We think there may well be a market for that waste rock. So that is all very good for the economics.
Gold is one of the world's oldest known stores of value. Our CK Gold project and all of our exploration projects are located in the United States, providing gold, copper, valuable minerals, silver, and American jobs in mining-friendly Western states.
We feel that we're making a great contribution. So that really excites me about the project. And to be frank with you, I like to see hard assets. I think gold should be a part of everybody's portfolio.
All right, let's bring on Ed. Ed, what's up, man? How we doing? How's your morning going?
Hey, Spencer, I'm doing great. How about you?
Actually, I should say it's not morning for you because you're coming to us from Europe. But so, how's your day going?
Correct. My day's going really well, really well. Early afternoon for me. Thanks for having us here.
Before we actually get to some of the things that were discussed in the video, I just want to. I always like to start with the background, the person's background. Like I said, everyone's got a story. What is yours?
Well, I started, Spencer, in the financial business about almost 30 years ago now. So you can see I have a couple gray hairs. Been doing this for a little while.
Yep.
Started in New York on Wall Street with a major wirehouse firm. Then I had an opportunity to move over to Europe in the mid-1990s to run an investment bank, asset management firm. I did that and ultimately wound up in Geneva, Switzerland. So I've been there for about 24 years now. I've established several different asset management, investment banking companies. And I've also founded a lot of different companies along the way, kind of one of these serial entrepreneurs. I've been on lots of different boards, both on American and Canadian publicly traded companies, and been CEO of a couple different companies. And so, yeah, that's kind of my background in a nutshell.
All right. U.S. Gold Corp. That's of course where you are now. That's why you're here today. That's what we're doing here. So some questions I have from that video that I want to start because I was taking notes. There were some things that I never want to assume that everyone knows certain terminology or a certain jargon. So there's a couple terms that I thought maybe we could address. One, open pit mine. What is that?
So open pit mine refers to when you have a deposit, Spencer, that you can actually dig a hole in the ground. So it becomes this big open pit, this big hole in the ground. And other mines can be underground. So they could be very, very deep. To go underground, it all becomes an issue of money and economics. So if you have a deposit that is very, very, very high grade and it justifies the expense of going underground, fantastic. But our project in Wyoming called the CK Gold Project will be an open pit. What we have there is a deposit. We know that we have 1.44 million ounces of gold equivalent. It's a gold copper deposit. It comes right up to surface, literally outcrops. You can see some of those rocks in the video that had kind of that greenish copper hue to it. So some of our best mineralized material comes right up to surface. And what we're going to do essentially is dig a big hole in the ground. So think of it like this, Spencer. I know you like sports, right? So think of a big American football, about 1,000 feet long, 600 feet wide, and 600 feet deep, buried in the Wyoming countryside with the stitching just, coming right up to surface. That's what our deposit looks like. We have to dig a big hole and basically extract that football. That's what the open pit mining will be.
What is stripping ratio?
Stripping ratio refers to how much burden you have to take off to get down to the good stuff, the ore, the mineralization. So again, imagine that football and imagine it's 200 feet below surface. So if you had to come in and pre-mine out, bring in some big bulldozers and dump trucks to take off all the sand, all the gravel on top for 200 feet until you get down to that football, that would be called a pre-strip. So your strip ratio in mining is how much overburden material you have to remove. The less, the better. The lower the strip ratio, the better, because you're right into your real, high grade ore that can generate revenues and cash flow. And that's certainly the case at our project in Wyoming. Some of our best material comes right up to surface. So our first shovels that go in the ground, that'll be some of our best material, and we'll be generating, revenues and cash flow in this project from day one.
All right. So the CK Gold project was, of course, mentioned in the video. I'm just curious, are there other benefits to being in Wyoming aside from tax benefits or anything, anything on the fiscal side? Are there any geographic benefits for being there?
Yeah, there really are. And look, Wyoming is a fantastic state. In the United States, you have states that are pro-mining, pro-resource industry, and you have states that are not so friendly pro-mining. Wyoming is certainly pro-natural resources. You've got a lot of mining. There are coal mines in Wyoming, uranium mines. Just about 3 miles south of us is a big, major industrial granite quarry, a granite mine. There's oil and gas. So the state derives a lot of its revenue off royalties on these deposits, and they know the extractive industries very well. Also, Spencer, important to point out, our CK Gold project, we're on all state of Wyoming ground. It's state of Wyoming claims. Becomes very important because our only regulatory authority for permitting is the state themselves, the regulators in Cheyenne. There's a lot of great projects in the United States, specifically like Nevada, that are on federal government ground. And there they have to permit with the US federal government authorities. So it takes a much longer time. We believe, Spencer, we can probably have our CK Gold project permitted by mid-2023 and then get this into production very, very rapidly. So Wyoming is a really favorable state to have a project like this.
Okay, so let's sort of get to my next question, which was like, tell us about, the state, the timeline of this project, this CK Gold project? Where are you at in the process? What comes next, etc.?
Yeah. So we just dropped an updated geological report on December 1st called the PreFeasibility Study. Major work went into this. This shows an extremely viable project. We have 1.44 million ounces of gold out there. You know, Spencer, gold today is about $1,770 an ounce. So that's about $2.5 billion worth of metal on our project, gross value. But obviously, it's not worth that gross because you have to extract it. You have to build a mill, you know, to process that material. So our capital in this PFS, looking at about 221 million, we're going to show a production rate of about 108,500 ounces per year and a 10-year life of mine on this project. What's really important, Spencer, to look at on any project is what's called your AISC. That's your all-in sustaining cost. Ours is coming in at $1,800 an ounce. And let's just assume, I'm not that great at math, let's use easy numbers. Let's assume gold is going to remain at $1,800 an ounce for the next 10 years. And our all-in cost is $800 an ounce. Well, this project could throw off $100 million a year in EBITDA for the next 10 years. You know, big number. So this is a very economic, very viable project. And this PFS, Spencer, was done at $1,625 gold and $3.25 copper. Again, gold today about $1,770, copper is about $4.25. So that's pretty conservative. The next steps going forward, we also did a lot of engineering in this pre-feasibility study. We are going to produce a gold copper concentrate by flotation. So we have already designed the mill, very detailed engineering. We are moving this project right now towards what's called a bankable feasibility study. We'll have that done the first half of next year. That will allow us to file the mine plan permit with the state of Wyoming. That should be a 12-month approval process. So by mid-2023, we have an approved permit. It'll take us about 12 months under our CEO, George B's leadership to build this mill, build this facility. So by mid-2024, we could be in production with this. And I'll tell you, Spencer, today, U.S. Gold Corp only has 7.1 million shares outstanding. You know, I think the stock's just below $10 a share. So huge amount of value for our shareholders in this project.
And so, you know, we're talking a couple of years out here. How are you on just the funding for all that?
Look, our last public filing, we showed $10.8 million in cash. That was our 10K. We are about to file a 10Q coming up this week, I believe. So everyone should keep their eyes on that. That cash number will be down, but our balance sheet is still in very good shape. I'd say we've got enough money to get us well into that permitting process. And just a note to point out, Spencer, it's been a tough time this year for the junior exploration sector, even U.S. Gold Corp. Most of these stocks in this sector are trading right now around 52-week lows, which is just a massive disconnect. Look at what happened today. Producer prices came out. They came in at 0.8% for the month. You know, producer prices, we're running right now, Spencer, at 9.6% annualized. Inflation is here. You know, Jerome Powell's statement that inflation is transitory is going to go down in history as maybe one of the worst statements ever. The only thing that's transitory is his credibility. CPI came out last Friday, and CPI, consumer prices, are running at 6.8%. So inflation is here. All your viewers got to look at that. When you have gold, when you have silver, copper, these are insurance policies against inflation. And although the precious metal prices haven't taken off maybe as much as some of the cryptos or other things, I'm telling you, they're going to go. They really are. In my opinion, 2022 is going to be fantastic timing for this sector.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, Ed, agree with you, but they're just like scratching their heads as far as just the performance of the asset class. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Look, it has. It's been a huge head scratcher, and I think a couple different reasons. Number one, certainly the cryptocurrency industry has taken a lot of attention and a lot of the capital away from the more speculative junior exploration sector. And rightly so. They've had phenomenal runs. I am certainly not, Spencer, a crypto basher. I'm well on record saying I think people should own both. I really do. I own both. I think everyone should. But at the end of the day, look, gold's been around for over 2,000 years and used as a medium of exchange. Will Bitcoin be here in 2,000 years? I don't know. Gold will. It certainly will. So I want my money in both. And for me, gold is my insurance policy. I use this to maintain my long-term purchasing power. It's like insurance. I have insurance on my car. I didn't wake up this morning and decide, hey, today's a good day to go get into an accident. But if I do, I want car insurance so I can protect myself. Heaven forbid if I cause some damage or hurt someone else. Gold's the exact same way, And I think at some point this market looks a little long in the tooth. The Fed saying they're going to taper. I hear this big vacuum cleaner in the background. It's not my, my cleaning woman cleaning my apartment here. I mean, that's the Fed sucking liquidity out of this market right now. We'll see what they say tomorrow, but they're going to reduce their amount of tapering. Ultimately, they're going to start raising interest rates. And as that happens, we could see a pullback in the general equity market, especially a lot of the high-flying tech stocks that have long duration. I would think that would bring a nice bid into gold and silver, and next year could be setting up very, very well. But it has been frustrating. I thought we'd be higher than we are now. But look, the market's never wrong. Only my opinion of it is.
Right. It's just so interesting too, Ed, because in some respects, since the bottom in last year, right, March, April, the bottom of last year, it does feel like darn near everything has rallied, with the notable exception of gold. So it's just interesting.
And look, Spencer, I think it's like a coiled spring, rubber band, just getting ready. It's stretch, and this thing is getting ready to snap. It really is. When you look at a valuation disconnect, and I'll just point to U.S. Gold Corp, we are trading today below a $70 million market cap. We have cash in the bank. Our project alone in Wyoming has a $323 million net present value, $2.5 billion of metal out there. It's an amazing valuation disconnect. And you find that across this entire sector. You really do. So at some point, we will get a catalyst. We'll see bigger institutional money start flowing into this sector. But people have been making money on their FANG stocks, their Tesla, their Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, etc. So until maybe some of those trends really break and people get scared, it might be a little more choppy, markets for gold and silver.
Okay, so aside from the CK Gold, are there other projects we need to be aware of here?
Yeah, look, we've got 3 other high potential exploration projects in our company, and any one of those in its own right could be a company maker. 2 in Nevada, one called Keystone on the Cortez Trend, another one called Maggie Creek on the Carlin Trend, and then we have a project in Idaho called the Chalice Gold Project. So all of those are early stage exploration opportunities. We're trying to prove up big discoveries there.
Nice. Okay. If there were any questions in the chat, I hope I did not miss them. I know there was a couple, but I think they were answered. Let me just scroll through right now. Just to clarify, are you a junior or not?
Yeah, we're definitely a junior in that. Usually companies, anything less than $100 million market cap is classified as a junior, so we would be a junior. But different than a lot of Canadian companies, we're traded on the NASDAQ, full NASDAQ listing. We have a stock over $5 a share. A lot of Canadian companies are penny stocks, so anyone can buy us. A lot of brokers in the United States cannot buy all these Canadian juniors because they have compliance issues with stocks below $5 a share.
Right. Ed Karr is the founder of U.S. Gold Corp. The ticker is up on the screen, USAU. That's a good ticker you got there.
Let's go.
Ed, always a pleasure to talk with you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us on All Access.